We begin the news where the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, Justice John Oho, has announced the redeployment of 5 judges with immediate effect. In a statement issued on Sunday, the court disclosed that 6 judicial officers were affected by the decision. The judges include Justice M.G. Umar from the Enugu Judicial Division, who has now been reassigned to the Abuja Division, while Justice Tijani Garba Ringim has been transferred from Gombe to Yola. Similarly, Justice Shagun Bello, previously serving in the Abakaliki Division, has been moved to Enugu, and Justice Bala Khalifa Muhammad Usman has been reassigned from Yola to the Oka Division, while Justice Amina Aliyu Muhammad will take over in the Gombe Division after her redeployment from Oka. She assured litigants and lawyers that there is no need to worry about their cases before Justice Eko's court, whose suspension stemmed from allegations of delivering rulings without hearing the parties involved. Now, other judges who got suspended by the NJC include Justice Aminu Baffa Aliyu of the Zamfara Division for 1 year without pay, placing him on a 3-year watch list, during which he is barred from elevation. And now we move to security, where the Nigerian Bar Association, Anambra State Chapter, has condemned the gruesome murder of its member, Ifeanyi Ilo-Akasia. Ilo-Akasia, a member of Otwacha Bar, was killed alongside his clients in Nanka, Orumba North local government area as they were returning from a court sitting in Ekulobia High Court on 15th May. Now, the NBA, in a statement signed by A.G. Abonye, the chairperson, Committee of Chairmen and Secretaries of NBA Anambra, described the attack as a blatant assault on the legal profession and the rule of law. Now, the Committee of Chairmen and Secretaries of NBA Anambra Chapter consequently directed all lawyers to boycott all court sittings in the state from 20th to 21st May in protest against the murder of their colleague. Now, the lawyers demanded justice be served and the relevant authorities must do all it takes to pursue truth and accountability. In Kebbi State, suspected bandits have attacked Waje community in Donko Wasagu local government area of the state, killing 15 farmers and injuring 3 others. Now, the state's deputy governor, Senator Umar Tafida, led a condolence visit to the district head, offering words of comfort and financial support to the grieving families on behalf of Governor Nasser Idris. Describing the gesture as a modest show of solidarity, Tafida pledged continued government support. District head, Honorable Balat Mbaba, praised the visit and called for stronger security, noting the area's vulnerability due to its proximity to Niger, Zamfara, and Sokoto states. The local government chairman confirmed the casualty figures. In a related development, chairman of All Progressives Congress, APC Ward 5, Ifong Ose local government area of Ondo State, Nelson Adepoyi, who was kidnapped at his residence in Ifong a few days ago, has been reportedly killed by his abductors. Now, the kidnappers, however, set free 2 individuals who reportedly took 5 million naira and food items to them as ransom to secure Adepoyi's release. The kidnappers had initially demanded 100 million naira, but after negotiations, reduced it to 5 million naira with foodstuff. Now, the chairman of Ose local government area, Honorable Barrister Clement Kolakbojo, confirmed the development in a statement issued by his media aide Oluwaseun Oguni. Meanwhile, Ondo State Police Command is yet to confirm the killing of the politician. The Commissioner of Police, Wilfred Afolabi, disclosed that a detachment of police detectives have been drafted to the community to investigate the incident. To accountability matters now, the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, has formally written to the Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Mr. Bayo Julari, urging him to immediately account for 500 billion naira in oil revenue reportedly missing from the Federation account. The demand, made in a letter dated May 17, 2025, comes in response to recent revelations by the World Bank, which showed that Nigeria earned over 1.1 trillion naira from crude oil sales and related income between October and December 2024. However, only 600 billion naira was remitted by the NNPCL, raising serious questions about the unaccounted 500 billion naira balance. SARAP is calling for full transparency, immediate recovery of the missing funds, and prosecution of anyone found responsible. Now, the group has given the company 7 days to respond or face legal action. The organization warned that the missing funds could severely impact critical areas such as education, healthcare, and infrastructure, especially amid widespread economic hardship. Moving away from that, two octogenarians, 80-year-old Ayuba Ashiru and 82-year-old Uloma Uchechi Sunday, along with her daughter Chisom, topped the list of arrests made by the NDLEA in a nationwide drug sweep. Ayuba, a former convict, was caught in Kaduna with 2.3 kilograms of skunk. Uloma and her daughter were nabbed in Abia with meth, tramadol, and cannabis. Massive drug seizures were recorded at Apapa and One ports, with opioids worth over 3.2 billion naira intercepted. In Kwara, a polytechnic student and two others were caught with cannabis and tramadol. An AK-47 hidden in maize, cocaine in headgear, and over 900 kilograms of skunk were also recovered in separate raids across 9 states. Now, still talking insecurity, the Isan Northeast Anti-Kidnapping Unit in Uromi, Edo State, has raised an alarm over the high rate of drug abuse being witnessed within the town. The patron of the Anti-Kidnapping Unit, Andrew Akboka, spoke exclusively to New Central Television in Uromi, saying that the buying and selling of drugs within the township has become a big business being practiced by many, including youths and hotels, without any form of restraint. Akboka adds that the unit has arrested several drug peddlers in the past and handed them over to the police, yet none has been prosecuted. He blames illicit drug use for the high rate of crime in the town, saying that it fuels violent crimes and kidnapping, and calls on federal government and state government to act decisively to end the menace.
Is the biggest, number one, after drug, kidnapping. The problem we have in town now, after drug, kidnapping. Anything you do revolve around drug. Not be bow at the top. This one they call it bow. What I call it, the one they say is loud. The one they say is colos, ice. All those drugs, they are a billion business in Uromi. Okay. If there is hardly any hotel in Uromi where drug is not being sold freely, I can swear to that. So we are fast losing hope. We are even thinking we are no longer part of this system because nothing works here. When I say nothing works here, I mean as regard law enforcement, it's like NDLEA does not exist.
Now, the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, Justice John Oho, has announced the redeployment of 5 judges with immediate effect. In the statement issued on Sunday, the court disclosed that 6 judicial officers were affected by the decision. Now, the judges include Justice M.G. Umar from the Enugu Judicial Division, who has now been reassigned to the Abuja Division, and a few others who have also been reassigned. All right, now to join us to speak more on this, we have Barrister Mohammed Ndarani, SA, and to speak more on this. Barrister, thank you so much for joining us on the news.
Thank you very much. You're welcome.
It's a pleasure. Now, can you speak to us on your thoughts on this judiciary shakeup?
Yes, I think the arrangement by the Chief Judge of Federal High Court is very perfect. It's fantastic. It's within the framework of his discretionary constitutional power bestowed on him under the extant laws of this nation. And the action taken by the Chief Judge of Federal High Court is in line. Is fantastic. It is within its discretionary power as put forward by extant law, the Constitution, and also the extant law that established Federal High Court in Nigeria. So that arrangement is in line, is within the voyage of the law. So I think, that action that was taken is taken in line with what would have accelerated the other matters that are left before the court. So it's a very good action. It's a very good step. It's a step on the right directions. Yes, for now.
All right. Well, we'd actually have to take a quick break now, but thank you so much for joining us, Barrister. Let's move away from that. At least 7 people have lost their lives, while 16 others sustained various degrees of injuries in a tragic truck accident in Niger State. The ill-fated truck transporting grains and about 36 male passengers to Kano from Lagos was involved in a lone accident attributed to the deplorable nature of the road. Now, the accident occurred in the early hours of Sunday at the Essa community along the Agay-Badegi Road in Kacha local government area of Niger State. The Director General of Niger State Emergency Management Agency, Abdullahi Baba Ara, disclosed this in a statement on Sunday. Emergency responders, including officials from Nsema, nearby commuters, and local villagers who were involved in the rescue operations at the scene, confirmed that 7 individuals had died at the time of filing the report. Now, of the survivors, 11 suffered serious injuries, while 5 sustained minor injuries. Some of the injured victims, were taken to health facilities in Badegi and Agay for medical attention. Thank you for staying with us. Now to a bit of health. Dementia is rapidly emerging as a major public health challenge across sub-Saharan Africa, with the World Health Organization estimating that over 3.9 million people are currently affected. That number is expected to rise sharply, reaching as high as 14 million by the year 2050. Here in Nigeria, more than 1 million people are believed to be living with the condition. But despite the growing numbers, access to diagnosis and care remains limited. In addition to that, widespread misconceptions, cultural stigma, and a fragile healthcare system continue to stand in the way of timely intervention. Now, for more on dementia care in Nigeria, I am joined by Care for the Elderly advocate, Ozioma Capuano. Ozioma is the Executive Director, the Good Hands Elderly Care Initiative. You're welcome to the news, Ozioma.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Now, can you tell us, what is the current state of dementia care in Nigeria, and how does it compare to global standards?
It's quite sad. I would say that compared to global standard, we are really behind. But then again, we are also, I would say, dementia in Nigeria is in its infancy. Unlike global, like other countries around the world, like America, Canada, United Kingdom, that they have specialized care systems. They have specialized structures for dementia treatments or diagnosis. We are quite behind when you talk about global standard. Our standards are not there yet. Okay, and that's part of what all the gaps that we're trying to bridge in this organization. We're trying to do that by capacity building and just trainings, really. Also, we try to bring the government to this conversation where we need to educate people. So to say that we're there, no, we're not. But we definitely have started the work. We're talking the talk, and we're hopeful.
Okay. Now, many Nigerians still believe dementia is a spiritual or even natural consequence of aging. How do these misconceptions affect diagnosis and care?
It's really terrible because, I mean, I have a personal story, and that's why this organization was put together. I lost my dad to dementia, and this is because there was a lot of confusion. Particularly, one part of the family said it was spiritual, the other part said it was traditional. So there was a lot of misconception and confusion. And yes, it's sad to say that a lot of Nigerians still do think that way, especially in the villages and all of that. There is lack of education, okay? And this definitely gets on the way. It delays diagnosis, it delays treatments, or not treatment, like care and the like. So we must begin to educate people, like I said, and we must begin to let people know that, you know, it's okay. People get old. Dementia is real. It's not the end of the world. You don't live with a stigma. We must begin to really curb the stigma around it. Actually, we look and we must have a coordinated framework that will begin to shed light in this area.
All right. Is there a national policy or strategy dedicated to dementia care in Nigeria?
No, there's none. There's none. Unlike other mental health issues like depression, dementia doesn't have any that is dedicated to it. No, it doesn't have it. Okay. And this is why we are bringing the government to the table. We have workshops, we have conferences, we have these talks where we must begin to talk about these things. These are the realities we're living with. People are, like, the statistics are there. People are aging every day. What are we, and dementia is kicking in. I mean, it's not for everybody.
Okay.
There's a huge percentage of people that are living with that. And that's why we're saying we must begin to, you know, engage the government, like I said.
All right.
And look at policies.
Ozioma, just before we let you go now, what support systems, you know, aside what you're working on, what support systems currently exist for families and caregivers of people living with dementia? You know, do you think that what is, you know, obtainable is sufficient?
Well, I would say no. This is because how many million Nigerians do we have, really? And how many care homes are there? How many caregivers are there? How many institutions are there that train qualified caregivers? So we do not have enough. What are the support systems that are there? They are limited, I would say, and largely informal as well. And by informal, I mean a lot of people like to think that we take care of our elderly by having them have house help or home assistance. But these people are just maybe family members or people from the villages you pull to look after the elderly. They are not trained. They are not trained to be able to take care of that aging family member. So we must train them, some sort of educate them, prepare them. Families that are dealing with this thing are tired because they're not even prepared. I don't think people are prepared enough to handle dementia. So families are not, they get burnt out, they're confused. Your domestic staff, like I said, are not trained, have no idea what's going on. And so, yes, we do have limited, support for this. And so we must begin to look into it. What can we do? Should we train more caregivers that stay back home? And should we educate family members more about dementia, prepare people enough? Should we, what are the symptoms? What are the early symptoms? These are all the things and conversations that we deal with in this organization. And so, and it's important. We cannot run away. We cannot keep it on the table anymore. These are the realities we're living with. We don't have enough, and we must begin to work towards it.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Uzioma, for your time and speaking on this.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. Away from that, a significant number of families, mainly women and children who were displaced by terrorist attacks, have returned to their hometowns in the Murte local government area of Borno State. Now, this follows the return of peace to the area. News Central's Umari Kirawa completes the report.
Attack on Marte facility, among others, burned down to ashes. Families were displaced because of recent threats. A grandmother of 7, Zainab Abacha, alongside other family members, returned back to Marte from Dikwa, about 24 kilometers in northern Borno.
Suro amdu solu da na da ban napte baro da wonte ke kulu ne akusa ni do mun ne kenan darbalu ne amma ku yar wote ya luye baro.
A significant number of families along with women and children who have been displaced by terrorist attacks now return to their hometown Marte local government area in Borno State as peace takes root in their community.
Sami ubuni na do kale sai ya ka jire cinya sami ubuni she ga yana ade awdo mani da alalar ndero sherungu wa nule fanguwa samma suudu ala kamande ya rabi burama ala adma da no ade gonduri samma shena don di roksale to male zemba shiro samma so chade iskana samma bune fare fi jimmi shena yawa bare nyana arinda ngudo ejo fulata ejo kumar kana ndi angudu ya ji kwarle nyana ma ubuyen na ba yen na ba ade ra fandere kede ku ishe na da mai na ira isuwa ma ma andere kan buda yubuye alhamdulillah askar nyana fa ku de ra commander matumanye.
With the pain of the terror attack, the battle to maintain peace is still ongoing in towns and villages affected.
About 20,000 people have left Marte to Dikwa. This is very obnoxious to the government, to the federal government as well as the state government. Because this huge number of people is a threat on itself. But alhamdulillah, we came back home. And then yesterday we spent a night here, you have seen, with the support of the Nigerian army, with the support of our gallant civilian jet hunters and vigilante. We are back here in Marte, and then the communities are now resettled for the second time now.
Authorities maintain that leaving communities deserted will further make the area vulnerable to infiltration and planting of improvised explosive devices by terrorists.
So far so good, you have seen we have strengthened the resilience of the community. We have increased the numbers of civilian jet hunters and vigilante in order to complement the efforts of the Nigerian army. The Nigerian army has also increased the workforce that are residing in this town, and we have taken many measures that need not to be explained here because it's a security matter.
Despite persistent security challenges, the rural dwellers show resilience to withstand the heat, particularly with support from authorities. In Marte, News Central, Umori Kirawa.
President Bola Tinubu on Sunday met with Pope Leo XIV in the Vatican, Rome. Now, the meeting comes shortly after Leo was installed as the Bishop of Rome and the 267th leader of the Roman Catholic Church. The Nigerian president shook hands with the Pope and had a brief conversation with him before moving away. Tinubu had joined other world leaders in Rome, Italy on Sunday for the installation mass marking the beginning of the pontificate of His Holiness Pope Leo XIV. Now, there will be more on the Pope's installation mass in our foreign news segment ahead in this bulletin. Thank you for staying. Now, a deadly suicide bombing rocked Mogadishu Sunday, killing and injuring several people outside the Zero de Mayo military camp. Somali authorities say the attacker, believed to be from the Al-Qaeda-linked Al-Shabab group, disguised himself as a civilian before detonating explosives around 9:20 a.m. local time. The explosion hit as civilians gathered to enlist, causing chaos in the Hodon district. Witnesses described seeing multiple casualties, with one saying the whole area turned to rubble. Al-Shabab has claimed responsibility, calling the victims apostates. Meanwhile, Egypt has condemned the attack and reiterated its support for Somalia's security forces. The bombing marks the latest in a string of violent escalation by Al-Shabab in the war-torn country. At least 14 people were killed on Sunday after Sudan's paramilitary rapid support forces shelled a displacement camp in Darfur. Volunteer rescuers say artillery fire struck the Abu Shuk camp, targeting a market, homes, mosques, and public spaces. The camp, home to tens of thousands already displaced by war and famine, is among the few remaining under army control in the region. First responders struggle to reach all victims due to ongoing insecurity. Now, the RSF has intensified attacks around El Fasher, the last state capital in Darfur, held by the army. Last month, the group seized Zamzam camp, displacing nearly 400,000 people. Sudan's brutal conflict is now in its third year. Nigerian televangelist Timothy Omotosho has been deported from South Africa following his acquittal after spending 8 years in jail on 32 charges, including rape, sexual exploitation, and human trafficking. In other news from around the world, millions of Europeans headed to the polls on Sunday as Romania, Portugal, and Poland held key elections. In Romania, voting has closed, with exit polls showing Bucharest's Liberal Mayor, Nica Sudan, leading far-right nationalist George Simeon in the presidential race. Now, the vote followed last year's annulled results amid claims of Russian interference and controversy over a conspiracy theorist candidacy. In Portugal, voters cast ballots in the third general election in under 3 years after the government collapsed following a failed confidence vote in March. Meanwhile, Poland held the first round of its presidential elections, setting the stage for a possible runoff. The outcomes could reshape political dynamics across Europe.
Am încercat să fiu onest cu oamenii, inclusiv în campania electorală asta din 2024, când a trebuit să-mi fac un bilanț, am fost foarte onest, inclusiv cu ce n-am făcut. Și cred că asta este unul din motivele succesului pe care l-am avut în alegerile locale și, în orice caz, asta e direcția în care vreau să continuăm, pentru că cred că românii s-au săturat să audă slogane și mutarea discuției de la problemele pe care îi preocupă.
European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has described the coming week as crucial for the future of Ukraine, as anticipation builds around an expected phone conversation between U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin. Speaking in Rome as the start of talks with U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance, hosted by Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, von der Leyen stressed the importance of momentum and international pressure to move discussions forward. She emphasized the EU's commitment to supporting Ukraine and hinted at the significance of next week's diplomatic engagements.
I would like also to raise the topic of Ukraine. What unites us is that we want a just and lasting peace.
Sure.
And I know how much you are engaged in ending this war, and I thank you for that. So what is important now is certainly that we push that things are moving forward, and I think the next week will be crucial on that.
During his inaugural mass in front of world leaders and dignitaries, Pope Leo XIV delivered a powerful homily expressing his concerns about the state of the world. Now, the pontiff strongly criticized an economic system that he said exploits nature and marginalizes the poor. In his remarks, the Pope highlighted the ongoing discord and divisions around the world, citing the wounds caused by hatred, violence, and prejudice. He emphasized that too many people are still suffering due to an economic paradigm that prioritizes profit over the earth's resources and the well-being of the most vulnerable. Now, the Pope's words resonated deeply in those in attendance, setting the tone for his papacy as one focused on healing and justice.
In questo nostro tempo vediamo ancora troppa discordia, troppe ferite causate dall'odio, dalla violenza, dai pregiudizi, dalla paura del diverso, da un paradigma economico che sfrutta le risorse della terra ed emargina i più poveri. E noi vogliamo essere dentro questa pasta un piccolo lievito di unità, di comunione, di fraternità.
Up next is business news.
Nigeria's exports to the United States fell by more than 20% in the first quarter of 2025. New data from a report by the United States Census Bureau has shown. The decline comes as total U.S. imports from Nigeria stood at $1.118 billion in Q1 2025, down from $1.401 billion in the same period in 2024. The trade data published in the March edition of the U.S. International Trade in Goods and Services report revealed that the U.S. imported $475 million worth of goods from Nigeria in March 2025, a marginal increase from the $449 million recorded in March 2024. However, sharp declines in January and February erased the gains. In February 2025, U.S. imports from Nigeria dropped to $286 million from $424 million the year before. Based on year-to-date calculations, the total value of imports fell by $283 million, representing a 20.2% contraction year-on-year. The fall in export value from Nigeria to the U.S. was largely influenced by fluctuations in crude oil shipments, which account for the majority of Nigeria's exports. Nigeria's Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Heineken Lukbobiri, has flagged off the construction of the permanent site for the Bauchi Oil and Gas Academy in Alkaleri, saying the move by the Bauchi state government will contribute to the federal government's human capacity development in the energy sector. The minister, during the event, explained that the imperative to activate all available oil platforms for increased production led President Bola Tinubu to grant approvals for the issuance of all critical regulatory licenses for the Kolmani Integrated Development Projects. According to a statement by the Special Assistant on Media and Communications to the Minister, Emeka Okafor, Lukbobiri further highlighted the President's broader agenda to harness the full potential of Nigeria's energy sector in driving economic prosperity. The minister also pointed to the abundant fossil fuel reserves within the country and stressed the importance of local capacity in managing and sustaining the sector, as he acknowledged the ongoing efforts of the federal government through the Petroleum Technology Development Fund in supporting human capital and technological advancement. China's ambassador to Nigeria, Yoon Do-hai, has called for deeper bilateral cooperation in Nigeria's solid minerals sector, including the establishment of electric vehicle factories in the country. Speaking during a courtesy visit to the Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dr. Dele Alake, in Abuja over the weekend, the ambassador underscored Nigeria's strategic importance to China's foreign policy and economic cooperation goals. He said Nigeria is a great country with immense natural resources, adding that China places the country at the core of its Africa policy. The envoy referenced the recent high-level talks between Presidents Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Xi Jinping during Tinubu's state visit to China, noting that both leaders agreed to elevate bilateral ties to a comprehensive strategic partnership. He said this development would pave the way for expanded collaboration, particularly in sectors such as mining and clean energy. And that's all on business news. I am Lekon Onobanjo.
Nigeria's Flying Eagles clinched third place at the Under-20 AFCON, edging hosts Egypt on penalties after a 1-1 draw. Favor Itua has more details.
And in sport, a 4-member team from the Confederation of African Athletics has completed the inspection of facilities for the upcoming African Under-18, Under-20 Athletics Championships in Abeokuta. The 3-day tour evaluated the MKO Abiola Stadium and over 800 hotel rooms ahead of the July 2025 event. Athletics Federation of Nigerian President Tonobo Gokowa praised the inspection team for their thoroughness and attention to detail. CAA Director General Amin Fati expressed appreciation to the Nigerian hosts, calling them truly excellent and confirming Nigeria's readiness to host the continental competition. The championship will take place from July 16 to 20th next year. And out of football, Nigeria have secured third place at the Under-20 African Cup of Nations after defeating host Egypt in a penalty shootout. The Flying Eagles won 4-1 on penalties following a 1-1 draw in regular time at the Cairo's 30 June Stadium. Egypt took an early lead when Osama Omar scored just 3 minutes into the match. Nigeria responded after halftime with Bidemi Amole finding the equalizer. 15-year-old Nigerian goalkeeper Ebenezer Hackett emerged as the hero, saving 2 Egyptian penalties in the shootout. Nigeria converted all 4 of their sport kicks to claim their 5th bronze medal in the tournament's history. This victory continues Nigeria's impressive record against host nations, while Egypt missed the chance to maintain their perfect record in third-place matches. And out to European football, another superb Declan Rice strike and Arsenal victory over Newcastle to secure the Gunners a place in next season's Champions League. The 55th minute wonder goal came after a flat first half when Arsenal goalkeeper David Raya made several key saves to keep Newcastle at bay. Arsenal now sits firmly in second place with 71 points, while Newcastle remains in good position for Champions League qualification despite missing top scorer Alexander Isak. Elsewhere, Nottingham Forest kept their Champions League hopes alive with a 2-1 win at West Ham, while Fulham fought back to defeat Brentford 3-2. Everton bid an emotional farewell to Goodison Park with a 2-0 win over Southampton, and Jamie Vardy scored his 200th Leicester City goal in his final home appearance. And to wrap up sports update, Carlos Alcaraz ended world number 1 Yannick Sinner's 26-match winning streak with a 7-6, 6-1 win in the Italian Open final. Sinner, playing in his first tournament since the 3-month doping ban, was hoping to become the first Italian men's singles winner at the tournament since Adriano Panatta in 1976. But after edging the 10th tie-break, 4-time Grand Slam champion Alcaraz was a class above in the second set, needing just 33 minutes to wrap up the title. Sinner's winning run stretched back to October when Alcaraz beat him in the China Open final. And that wraps it up on Sports Update. I'm Favor Itua.
And that's all at this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of our major stories. You heard that 15 farmers killed, 3 injured as suspected bandits attack Waje community in Kebbi State. You also heard that Serap demands accountability from the NNPCL over unremitted 500 billion naira oil revenue. And we told you that suicide bomber killed dozens outside military base in Mogadishu, Somalia. Remember, you may send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen. Do follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Darshan Usman.